Welcome back, guys. This week we're going to be learning how to shade properly with crayons. Now this will make any coloring project super fun and make it look super cool. So let's go ahead and get started. Now in the beginning of the video I showed you very briefly that we are going to be drawing a pumpkin. So the view of the pumpkin is going to be from the top down, and so it's like we're looking at the top of a pumpkin from like if we're standing up. Okay, so that is where we're playing with that perspective. So that means the angle that the pumpkin will be in. So we're gonna start first, before we start coloring anything, with a very light sketch with a pencil. Okay, so please use a pencil for this. Now the first thing you're going to start with is going to be your pumpkin stem. Now there are a lot of different pumpkin stems. No two pumpkin stems are ever going to look the same. And the same thing goes for your drawings. Alright, so the way I did mine though is I just kind of drew a line straight up, and I sort of want to stay in the middle of my picture here. And then I drew this little curvy line. Now you can follow along and pause it if you want to do one that looks like mine, but this is just kind of what I did for mine. And then after that, I went and I kind of made like a star-shaped pattern all the way around. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with these curved lines. And if you make a mistake, you can just erase it because we're using our handy dandy pencils. Okay? So now I've got my little weird looking stem. Okay, and what I can do is I can kind of draw like a little L shape here for the top of my stem. And then I can add some little lines here and there for some details. Because you know, pumpkin stems have all those little lines on them. Okay. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to draw my pumpkin, my actual pumpkin. And pumpkin have those really harsh bumps in them and lines. So starting at the corner for each of my little points that I drew here, I'm just going to draw sort of like a curvy line. I don't want it to be straight down. I want it to be curved. So I want you to think of your paper as it's split in half. Anything on this side, the curve is going to go down. And anything on this half, the curve is going to go this way. So I want you to watch what I do whenever I'm talking about it. So I'm drawing all my curves kind of down this way, and I'm drawing this one down this way, and then this one down this way. So now on the opposite side, I want my curved lines not to go this way, but they're going to kind of curve out in this direction. So and you can follow along as I'm doing this. Alright. And then one more curved line. And then maybe I want to put like another one right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put another little curvy line right there. Okay. So now that I've got my drawing done, I can put my pencil to the side, and I'm going to need some crayons. Now pumpkins come in all kinds of different colors, but I'm just going to do a standard orange pumpkin, like the one that we all know and love. So you're going to need some different crayons here. You're going to need white, brown, yellow, orange, green, and black. Okay. So I'm going to start first by coloring in my stem. So of course I'm going to take my brown, and very lightly I'm going to color it in. I don't want to color it in too dark because I'm going to add some more colors on top of it. And that's what we call layering in the art world. Down. Now I'm going to take my green and I'm going to color on top of that. I'm using medium pressure, so I'm not pressing too hard with my crayon. I'm just kind of just coloring it in right on top. Alright, now I've got my green down. So then what I can do is, again, I'm going to take that brown color and I'm going to push down a little bit harder with my crayon. All right, now that I've got that, now I'm going to take my black crayon and I'm going to outline my stem. Okay. Now black is a very strong color. So whenever we use it, we really only want to use it to outline and to do very, very light shading, because black is very strong. Okay, let's just outline the rest of our stem and some of those lines that we drew. And then we can shade in very lightly, like I said before, right up here at the top of our stem. I'm using very light pressure. And then maybe we can shade a little bit down here. I'm just using really light pressure. Because like I said, black crayon is very, very strong and we don't want to overwhelm what we already colored. So I'm just kind of coloring in really lightly on some of those lines that I made, very light. Okay, now we got our stem done. Now it's time to move on to our pumpkin sections. Now once you do one of these sections, it's going to be the exact same for every single one going all the way around. So I'll show you how to do the first one, and you can pause it as you go along, because I will be forwarding through the coloring process. But I will let you know when I start to add layers. Okay, so first, of course, you're going to start with orange. And you can outline it first if you want to. And you're going to go ahead and color it in. Now you're going to use medium pressure. So you're kind of pushing down a little bit with your crayon, but not too hard. And I'm going to color on both sides. I don't want to color in the middle just yet. I'm going to add some more colors to that in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to color in the top just a little bit. And I'm kind of leaving like this little curve right here in the middle. Then what I do is I'm going to take my yellow crayon and I'm going to color that middle section and then cover the entire part that I just colored with yellow. And I'm pressing a little bit harder down with my crayon. Make sure you hold on to your paper, you don't want it to go flying everywhere. And then I'm going to color the rest with my yellow crayon. Just going in just like this. I'm kind of pressing down a little bit harder now. Then I'm going to take my orange crayon again, and using very light pressure, I'm going to start to color a little bit on the inside of that yellow. Just a little bit. I'm using really light pressure and I'm going only in one direction. Well, I'm going back and forth, I'm sorry. Back and forth. And then I'm going to very light pressure. Very light pressure on that yellow. And then I can also just press, I'm going to use some hard pressure over here on the edges of my pumpkin where I outlined. Okay, just like this. And then I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to use some medium pressure on the outside of my pumpkin. Medium pressure. And this is kind of adding some shadows. And then I'll do light pressure right next to that dark line that I made, my brown line. Just like this. And there's one. Now what I can do after I'm finished is I can add a very light black outline on the outside of my pumpkin. Very light. I don't want to press too hard. Very light. And then I will repeat this for the rest of my pumpkin. And there you go. Now I took my white crayon and I kind of colored in the middle of each of my pumpkin sections here. That just kind of helps blend together all of the colors. And there